Um, Thanks for joining today. I just wanted to say something before we get into the guided practice as a reminder to myself and all of us. Um, just something that I've been kind of trying to work with in my own meditation practice lately is this idea that we're not trying to make any certain kinds of thoughts happen. So one, it's always a good reminder for me anyway, and maybe it's helpful for you. You see if it's helpful to to just remember that you're not trying to make yourself not think. That's not actually something that can even happen in reality. Um, it's it's like we have this mind, a brain. It's what it does. It's a thinking mechanism, and so the thinking is actually not going to go away or stop because you're a meditating person now. And then within that, this idea also that there are certain kinds of thoughts that you want to have. So for me, I'm working with this idea that I'm not trying to have certain thoughts and I'm not trying to push away certain thoughts or make certain thoughts happen. So it's not like I need, you need to meditate and you're thinking about the laundry or who you have to text. It's like that's a thought. It's not actually important or wrong. So it's just something that I wanted to kind of just touch on as a kind of floating thing in your practice, just to kind of remember once in a while, because it can get a little get a little bit weird in there when you're practicing, and there can be maybe a sense that like I'm not allowed to think these thoughts, or this is a bad thought, or this thought is good, and therefore I should be thinking like this, and just to kind of soften this. Kind of attitude that we might have for our own practice and our own ways of thinking, um, because we can practice with that. We can practice with what we're thinking about, noticing how often we're having certain reoccurring thoughts. Are they helpful to go into? Are they more helpful to step back from, have a little space when, for me, what happens I notice is there's a lot of thinking about the future. There's a lot of futurizing, a lot of how I'm going to communicate with people in the future, how I'm going to be in a situation, what I might say, and actually that for me is not helpful. So my something that I practice with is trying to be present, and then when I notice that thinking about that pattern of thinking about the future, I can give it less importance, and I can sort of let it be known as future thinking, and maybe concentrate more on the body sensation or the sound or what is actually happening in the present. So that's a little just a reminder that who knows what you'll think. It's a mind. I don't know. It's wild in there. I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts. But are they you? Are they indicative of who you are? No. Uh, Good news, I guess, for some of us. um, but to go into the practice, let's begin by finding a comfortable position for ourselves. So maybe you need to sit up on something, or maybe you're sitting in a chair, or maybe lying down. If you don't feel super sleepy, you have a little energy, might be nice to lie down to practice that way. Standing up, if you are feeling very sluggish, very tired, like kind of like immediately falling asleep, maybe standing up and working with that, sitting in a chair, sitting cross-legged with a lot of bolsters. If you pan the camera down, you'd see I'd have a lot of bolsters under me, but that works for me. So find for you what's going to work. We're going to sit for about 15-20 minutes. Um, and yeah, let's just go from there. So find that posture that you're going to be most comfortable in. And then just taking a minute to kind of, without even closing the eyes quite yet, maybe just recognizing the room you're in, the space you're in, and then the body that's here now. And then beginning to soften the eyes, maybe around the peripheral vision and the central vision not being so strong, not looking so much forward at anything specifically, and letting the eyelids begin to soften and shut or stay open and be very soft, can keep the eyes open, keep the eyes closed, open and close them. Just giving yourself permission now, with the eyes closed or with the eyes open, to just be here now in the way that you are. And that might mean making some room, a sense of allowing our own experience to be here. And that could come up with some resistance against what's here, restlessness or tiredness, or maybe a kind of sinking mind, negative thoughts. But just this idea or even intention, this kind of movement of allowing ourself to be here right now. Ourself being this body, this kind of fluctuating mind state, and then this sense of observation, awareness. Just letting yourself kind of come into now. And you might notice particularly body sensations. You might notice kind of racing mind or quick mind or kind of cloudy mind. Or there might be an emotional tone that's resonating with you right now. Something is sadness or anger or calmness or happiness. Just kind of beginning to open to the idea that this could be included here. That we're not trying to push away our experience to do something, to be a meditator or make a meditation happen. Kind of like a friendliness towards ourself right now. You can just hear what you can hear. Sounds that are inside your room or outside your room, or the sound of my voice. Just hearing. You might find it helpful to just check in with your sitting bones, whatever you're sitting on or standing on. Just kind of noticing the connection between this body and the ground. Sometimes it's even helpful to just say something like, "There's a body here." Just to kind of come into what's here. Sometimes with all the thinking, all the kind of projecting and leaning into the future and leaning back into the past, there is kind of like a sense that you don't even have a body in this moment. And contact of the body with the ground or the chair or cushion or whatever you're sitting on or standing on or lying on, it can help you just reaffirm where you are. A teacher recently said that here and now doesn't have a geographical location. It's your inner presence with yourself. And so there's a kind of, you take your time and you come into contacting this inner presence, this sensation of the body. The hearing. You might notice you're breathing in, breathing out. And you'll notice that here you are, and then you're thinking about the past or the future, feeling, an emotion. Nothing wrong with this. Because again, we're not trying to make anything happen here. Not trying to use our force of will to bend our mind in some direction. Actually, we're trying to cultivate the opposite, which is the lessening of the will. Because quite counterintuitively to the way most of us live our lives, we're not trying to get anything here. Just trying to be with ourself as we are. Kind of learning what it's like to give ourselves kind, clear attention to this kind of everyday, moment by moment experience we're having. So we use our attention, our awareness, as kind of the miracle of awareness, of aliveness, to just notice and come back to where we are, the sitting body, the breathing body, hearing. And then we have this thinking that arises. And so there's many ways to work with the thinking. So today we're gonna kind of work with the thinking in a way of trying to just notice it. What kind of thinking is it? So that we don't need to go into it, the story, the kind of future, the past, the memory, this problem or supposed kind of, whatever's arising. Just trying to give it a little name, maybe one word or two words. Future thinking. Remembering. Image. Idea. Whatever word might work for you. Just trying to give a little bit of space so that the thought world can become a little more known for what it really is. You're not thinking one thought and then moving on to the other. It's kind of a lot of happening within the world of thinking. So as we sit in this physical body, just notice what happens when you're thinking, furrowing your brow or moving your moving your eyeballs forward. And relax your eyeballs back, and relax the forehead. Maybe shoulders are tensing. See if you can soften them. Maybe it's helpful to recall that sense of allowing, that kind of this too attitude. This too could be included here. some space in the mind, in the heart, some space for ourself to be here. Seeing if you can soften the experience of the actual practice somehow. Maybe physically softening your body, your eyes, your jaw, abdomen. Maybe there's a mental softening that can happen for you, a kind of ungripping. Maybe kind of it's an overall sense of softness, kindness, or care, or whatever word might make most sense for you. Kind of like offering that to yourself. Not looking for the right thought or chasing away the wrong thought. Thoughtfulness, thoughts happening. Maybe introducing curiosity to the practice around thinking. What is thinking? What's it like? Is there a thought that when you think it, there's a kind of constricting, kind of holding on to it, going into it, not easy to let go of? If that's the case and you need to move away from it or feel that it would be beneficial to move away from this kind of looping of thinking, come back to the body, the sitting, feeling of the body sitting or standing or laying. Or just hear what you can hear if the body doesn't feel open to that. Sounds in the room, outside the room. And just kind of beginning to slowly notice where you are now, how the body's doing, how the mind is doing. And when you're ready, let's begin to come back into the space of the room or wherever you are. Letting the eyes begin to slowly open and see color and light, shape. and then just see how you're doing. So, thanks for joining for this. Um, Let me know if you want to see or hear any different kinds of meditation or certain lengths of time, or if you have questions, write a little, what is it? Comment below. But thanks for joining, and let me know how it went, how you're doing. And thank you, and I hope I see you soon. Bye.